Today, I want to talk to you about the journey that I've been on for quite some time. And trust me, this was not a planned journey. You see, I started out my career in banking a long time ago, and I was enjoying it. I was working in Chicago and then eventually moved to Amsterdam. But then one day I got this phone call, and it was quite strange. Because what happened was a consulting firm in London reached out to me and said, "We want you to come work for us. And what we want you to do is advise banks on how to use this cool new technology." And that technology was the internet. And that started my quite long now journey in emerging technology and innovation. But it's been a fascinating journey because it took me then from London to driving that here for the last 13 years in Singapore. And it's been fascinating because I'm very, very lucky. I joined during a period of unprecedented innovation. If you think about how much we've been able to deliver now in the last 20 years in technology, it's fascinating. Let's go back to when I started out in this industry. Back then, this was the phone we had back in 2000. Now this phone, don't laugh, it had very good features. You could make phone calls and do SMS. But most importantly, if anybody's old enough to remember, it had Snake. And Snake was amazing. Yeah, there are some old people here. But then the business world changed forever in 2002 with the launch of the BlackBerry, and I was lucky enough to be involved with that. And this changed everything because suddenly now we had email in our hands, and we could be contacted anywhere, anytime, and that pretty much ended work-life balance. But then we transformed the rest of the world in 2007 because we launched the iPhone and Android came out as well. And then we had the power of the internet in our hand. And that was fascinating. And look where we are today. I can't even describe all the different features in the devices because I can't keep up. But I love the fact that we've got these beautiful phones that you can unfold them, take out the stylus, and start writing on the screens. It's amazing the level. And this has all been supported by these different type of technologies that underpin the devices. You know, we started out within 2G, but then we moved to 3G, 4G, and 5G, and it kept getting faster and faster. Think back 5, 7 years ago when you tried to just watch a YouTube video on your phone, it was probably choppy, it would be buffering. Now we can stream HD. And now what we've been doing more than ever is starting to combine all these different technologies and devices and sensors together and creating really interesting topics. Things like the Internet of Things, things like smart cities, and now what we're seeing a lot more, things like digital twins. And for those of you who are scratching your head going, what is a digital twin? Just give me a few minutes. But it's been a fascinating journey for me because I've played a really interesting role during my time in Asia, and I've sat in the middle of the ecosystem to try and drive the adoption of emerging technology and try and drive innovation. On the supply side, I work with technology vendors, mobile operators, hundreds of startups over the years to try to get their products to market and their solutions to market. But I help out businesses and I help out city governments to try and identify the solutions they actually need. And then I work with the venture capital community to try and identify the trends where they should be looking at and trying to drive this market forward. And it's been great. And on paper, it sounds pretty cool. But I have a confession to make. I have a love-hate relationship with the industry that I've been in for a very long time now. You see, I love the fact that we have technologies available today to transform the way that we work, live, and play. And I hate the fact that we don't deliver more transformation. And don't get me wrong, we are making progress, but we could be doing so much more. But for the last 20 years, I've watched us make the same mistakes again and again. With every new device or technology or solution that comes out, we overhype it, we oversimplify it, and then we underdeliver it. And my love-hate relationship came to a head just over a year ago. I was being interviewed on a podcast. And the interviewer said, "Why are you so cynical about technology?" And I laughed. I'm like, I'm not cynical. I absolutely love technology. I just hate the fact that we're not delivering enough transformation with it. We could be doing so much more. And then he followed up and said, "Well, what do you think is going to happen with 6G?" And I said, "Well, we're going to overhype, oversimplify, and underdeliver it." And I giggled at the time, but then when I listened to the playback of that podcast, it felt like I got punched in the stomach. I felt deflated. Because I realized that I've been trying so hard to drive more innovation, and we're still making the same mistakes, and I wasn't having the impact that I wanted to have. So I knew I needed to make a change. But then I came up with this dilemma. Well, what am I going to do now? How do I pivot again in my career into something else? So I reached out to a few friends and started telling them what I'm going through and what I'm trying to do, and I want to find a way to make impact and do something that I feel matters more and deliver more value. And one of those friends said, well, why don't you just come work for me? And on paper, that's not very remarkable, but that friend is Tim Kobe, and he's the founder and CEO of 8 Inc. And he was the guy who was approached by Steve Jobs to create the Apple Store. And my first thought, and I'll be honest about this, my first thought was, oh wow, I get to go work with the guy who created the Apple Store. And I thought that would be so cool. And then reality set in, going, what am I gonna do in an experience design firm? You know, they've got creatives, they've got designers, they've got architects. I'm a tech guy. What am I gonna do there? But we kept the conversation going and we're talking. And then he said this, and this is what really stuck with me. Technology exists to deliver human outcomes. And we forget that. Technology does not exist for technology's sake. It exists to give value back to us as consumers, as citizens, and as employees. But we forget about that. When we hear the new technology, we just talk about how it works and what it functions like and how fast it is. We don't talk about the value it delivers. And that's what hit me. What if? What if I changed my perspective and started looking at the human outcomes instead of just looking at the technology? And what if I applied those same methodologies that Tim and 8 Inc. have used to redefine industries like retail and started applying them to problems that we face in the world today? Like, what if I applied it to the future of work or the return to the office? Or what if I applied it to technology and maybe something like a digital twin? So that's what got me off on my next journey, my next career pivot. So I've gone from basically being a banker to doing emerging technology and innovation, and now I'm going into the world of experience design. So it's fun because it's another part of the journey. But as you know, I had to start then learning, what do I do here? How do I understand this? So as we know, companies tend to pick out a strategy and then define the tactics that go into it. But I needed to relate that back to something I knew. So I'm like, okay, well, what's happened with 5G? We've just spent billions rolling it out. My strategy is I want people to use it. What tactics am I going to use? I'm going to tell them it's fast, which is great because that's the exact same thing we said with 3G and with 4G and now with 5G. But this time we did put a little twist on it. We said 5G is so fast that you can download a video in seconds. And almost every single mobile operator and technology vendor in the world has used that, which is great, except we stream movies on Netflix. No one downloads movies anymore. So they were just missing the point. So I started thinking about, like, what type of human outcomes could we drive on that? And it's a struggle on that. But I want to explain it in a slightly different way now, because what I want to talk about is something that all of you can relate to right now. We've just come out of a pandemic, and we've all been going back to the office for the first time in a while. So that's a strategy that we have. We got to get people back in the office. So what do we do to do that? Well, first of all, we need to implement hybrid work because we know that people don't want to spend all their time at home or in the office. Then what we do is think, okay, we should probably redesign the office and create some more collaboration spaces over here, maybe some isolation zones over here where people can get some privacy. And then, of course, we'll give them free beer on Thursdays. That's going to make everybody want to come back to the office. Maybe throw in a ping pong table and some beanbag chairs and we're all good to go. Well, what's happened is that strategy and those tactics have not made the return to the office successful. And we're seeing this across the world. And that's because we ignored the human outcomes when we planned out our strategies to bring people back to the office. There's been a lot of big global surveys this year, and I am going to bore you with one slide of stats, but I think it's very important. The outcomes that are being delivered right now, only 21% of people feel that they're engaged at work. 44% of people surveyed said they experienced stress a lot the previous day. 75% of people say they struggle to incorporate well-being into their daily routine. 62% think that their managers don't support the well-being practices that their company promotes. 73% of parents said they felt burned out in the last 3 months. And 58% of people are rethinking their work-life balance. Now, these are stats, but they're also our friends and they're our colleagues. And what they're saying is, I'm not engaged, I feel stressed, my well-being's been impacted, I don't feel supported, I'm burned out, and I'm rethinking my future. This is what we've delivered when we brought people back to the office. This is our strategies. What we should have done is think about what outcomes do we want to deliver to our employees. We should want them to feel informed, supported, and valued. And now we will go back and try and do this in our companies, but this gives you an idea about the importance of human outcomes. But now that I've talked about human outcomes, I need to relate it back to technology. And I decided to have a little bit of fun with this one. And I'm going to talk about digital twins. You see, this is probably the most tricky technology I could try and use this against, so I thought it would be quite a fun one. But before I do that, I want to ask a quick question. How many people, by a show of hands, could explain to the person next to them what a digital twin is and what value it delivers? Okay, so I think I have my work cut out for me. All right, how about this? This is easier. How many people know what it's like to sit in traffic? All right, and those of you who didn't raise your hand, I want to know where you live, where you don't experience traffic. If you can understand what traffic is like, I can make you understand what a digital twin is, because digital twins exist to deliver human outcomes. So I'm going to explain to you what a digital twin is, and then I'm going to explain the outcomes it delivers. But if I'm going to do that, I need a human that I can explain it to. So I've chosen this guy. He's Mr. Angry Road Rage Guy, and he hates sitting in traffic. Makes him mad. He just wants to get home as quick as he can. And right now, he's stuck in the middle of this, and it's not going anywhere. And he's getting more and more angry. And he looks around, and he can see these buses, and each of these buses have sensors on them that are telling the bus company over here that your buses are stuck in traffic. And the buses know they're not moving. But the bus company doesn't know, well, has there been an accident? Is it just normal traffic? And then he looks across, and he can see all these taxis. And they've got information that's being captured by them and sent to the taxi company over here. And they have all that information. They don't know, again, why the traffic is so bad or if there's been an accident. But then he can also see all these CCTV cameras. The CCTV cameras are owned by the city, and they know that, yes, there's a lot of traffic, but they also know that there hasn't been an accident. Now, what if we combined the taxi information, the bus information, and the city information together into a single platform and overlaid it on a map? Well, that'll let us know where things are in real time. There you go. I've basically just explained what Google Maps is, which I think most of you will already know. But then what if we took that and visualized it and used software and created a 3D model of it? That'd be pretty cool, because then you'd almost have a digital twin. But then what if you gave me power to control all the stoplights in the city? And I could look and say, oh, it's red over here, there's a lot of traffic, and I could see it's green over here, so why don't I move the light a little bit and allow that traffic to flow more freely? That'd be cool, but it's not very efficient because I'd have to do all of them. So instead, we trained artificial intelligence to learn how to do that. It can figure out where there's hotspots and automatically control the lights and make traffic move more freely. Now, cities all over the world are delivering the solution right now. In Dubai, they just announced they're about 60% of the way through their initiative, and they've already reduced travel times in Dubai by 20%. So this is how you can do it. That's basically what a digital twin is. It's just combining data that exists in different places, bringing it together, and making it visual so we can actually leverage it and get the information out. And then it delivers value. But now, back to this guy. He's still sitting there in traffic. But now I've got a digital twin. So I'm going to go up and explain to him how I'm going to help him. So I go up to Mr. Angry Road Rage Guy. I'm like, listen, I've got great news for you. There's sensors that's being captured on all these different vehicles around you and on these different cameras. They're being stored in disparate databases over here, over here, over here. I'm going to aggregate all those together, apply visualization software to it to create a 3D model, then use artificial intelligence to actually solve the problem. Mr. Angry Road Rage Guy is going to get even more angry. But what if I did this instead? What if I said, hi, Mr. Angry Road Rage Guy, I've got great news for you. I've got this cool tech. It's going to sort out the lights. I'm going to get you home faster. Angry Road Rage Guy would become much less angry. And this is the importance of human outcomes in technology. People don't care how the tech works. We don't have to explain it to them. Explain to them the value it's going to deliver. And this gets very important because as we look at the buildings right now, which is the big thing, we're delivering digital twins of them, and the people who need the information aren't technologists. I mean, just think about it. We've got our facilities manager, the person who runs buildings like this. And all he's concerned about is they need to control the energy, the lighting, the HVAC. We can give him information that will allow him to help reduce his costs, make it run more efficiently, have less breakdowns. So we're delivering value back to him. But then we've got our chief sustainability officer. And she's got to create strategies to reduce our carbon emissions. So she needs some of that information, but she needs to see how it's going to be progressing over time and test different things out to reduce our carbon emissions and help us reach our ESG targets. But then we've got our workplace manager who just designed this new office that we're going to be working in. He needs to know, are people actually using the collaboration zones? You know, should we be adding more free beer or more ping pong tables? We can get that information off of a digital twin. And finally, our chief financial officer. Now, she's very concerned because obviously she wants to avoid paying carbon taxes. So she wants to know, are we reducing our carbon emissions? But she also has the responsibility to go out to the financial markets and say, this is how well our company is doing against our carbon reduction targets. These people are not technical people, but these people need technology. We need to learn how to deliver human outcomes to them. When we start doing that, this is where we achieve our goal, because the outcomes we want them to feel and want to deliver to them, we want them to feel informed, we want them to feel supported, and we want them to feel valued. So this is my call to action to you, my fellow citizens, my fellow consumers, and my fellow employees. We need to get more involved in technology. Technology is too important to be left to technologists. We need to start collaborating more, talk about what we need and how technology can help us solve our problems. We need to break down our silos and deliver radical transparency. Because if we do that, technology will transform the way that we work, live, and play, as long as we remember that it's all about the people and that technology exists to deliver human outcomes. Thank you very much.